part of the ION Radio Network.
In the mortgage industry, the mortgage specialists proudly offer some of the lowest rates available. When you work with an expert from the mortgage specialists, you can rest assured knowing that you are working with someone who truly cares about you. Are you unsure about which loan option is right for you? By giving the mortgage specialists a call today, they would be more than happy to schedule either an in-home or in-branch consultation. They will get to know you and your finances to learn more about how they can help you with your loan option that is best for you and your situation. To learn more or schedule your first consultation, contact the mortgage specialist today at 877-411-0123. That's 877-411-0123. TheMortgageSpecialists.com.
IPMNation.com.
It's a nail biter tonight in Kentucky. Yet another state that Hillary was expected to win easily, but it's down to the wire between her and Bernie. Seeing a trend here. It is Tuesday, May 17th, 2016, just after 11 p.m. in the Eastern Time Zone. From the Uptown Auto Repair Studio in Manchester, New Hampshire, Matt Connarton Unleashed starts right now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Matt Connarton Unleashed, we're live. It's another Tuesday night, which means another primary, this time in the state of Kentucky. You would have thought Hillary Clinton would easily win these southern primaries. I mean, after all, she is, in theory, from Arkansas, and the other guy, her primary challenger, both in terms of, primary as in Maine and primary as in the primaries, is a Jewish guy with a Brooklyn accent from Vermont. She should easily be able to sweep the South. But it's not quite going her way. I mean, she may win Kentucky. It's too close to call. But, and of course, we know what will happen with the superdelegates, but, And by the way, I mean, if you're not listening to this live, if you're just listening to it later on demand in the podcast version, we may already know the answer. The final outcome in the Kentucky primary by the time you hear this, I don't know. But as I am live, because I am live, it is at this moment 11:06 p.m. in the Eastern Time Zone here in the Uptown Auto Repair Studio. And as I am live right now, we do not yet know officially the winner of the Kentucky primary. But I will tell you this, regardless of who wins, Hillary Clinton will still have more delegates, both in total and coming out of Kentucky, I'm sure. I don't even know if Kentucky's, if they split the delegates or if it's a winner-take-all state, but that won't matter. Anywho, welcome to the show tonight, of course, Matt Connarton Unleashed, the radio edition, which you can hear Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern on IPM Nation 2. And, of course, Tuesday and Thursday nights, we have the honor and privilege of also being on OTR FM, the premium channel on the OMTimes radio network. So wonderful to have you with me tonight. We do have a phone line open for you if anyone would like to opine, 617-917-4IPM. Again, that's only if you're listening live. If you're listening to the podcast and you call that number, no one's going to answer. But 617-917-4476, if you prefer, for the alphanumerically challenged. You can call us or text us at that number. And, of course, you can tweet me anytime at Matt Connarton. You can post on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. I suppose you could try to paste there too, like if you want to copy paste something from somewhere else. Although that wouldn't be a very original post. It's not an original post if you paste it. Let's see. And of course, I guess that's it. Those are, oh yes, the chat room. I knew I was forgetting something. The chat room, ipmnation.com/live2. You can click the chat box, the chat tab, actually, I should say, on the far right of your screen, and then you can chat, and I can monitor that during the show, and we can communicate that way. Speaking of ipmnation.com, by the way, we gave the site another sort of a refresh, not as in refresh your browser, but refreshed the site a little bit, kind of went with a new layout. We do change it from time to time. You got to freshen things up. You got to keep things looking modern, of course, if you want to compete in this global online media thing. In terms of alternative media, as we are, we're certainly not mainstream media, so I guess we're alternative media. But more importantly, it has become absolutely imperative in the last few years to be mobile friendly, because the reality is, and of course on OMTimes Radio they have a separate mobile player that you can use. Although even if you, the interesting thing about OMTimes.com is even if you just use, even if you're listening to the show, if you're listening to OMTimes Radio on your mobile device, even if you're not using their mobile player, which is specifically for the mobile device, obviously, but rather you just decide to pull up the regular player on the website, it almost doesn't matter, because their regular website is also so mobile friendly that you can get away with using the regular player. It really doesn't matter on OMTimes.com. Well, on IPMNation.com, of course, our site is mobile friendly, including the player. And with the new layout, part of what we've done is we've made it even more mobile friendly so that it looks great on any device. Everything's easily accessible. Everything loads nice and quick. There's been a real shift. And by the way, the previous layout that we had before today was also mobile friendly. IPM Nation's been mobile friendly for a couple of years now at least, but this new layout is even more so. Nice and streamlined. There's been really kind of a shift in web design. I know this is fascinating to all of you. We'll get into politics in a minute, I promise. But there's really been kind of a big shift in web design over the last several years. There was a time when websites tended to be very heavy on the homepage, very sort of content heavy on the homepage. And the psychology behind that is if there's a lot on your homepage, it looks like you've got a lot going on, and that impresses people. So it makes a big impression. And of course, many websites are still very content heavy on their homepages, but there's been a shift with a lot of web designers now try to make their homepages much lighter, so that the site itself is not as heavy. And the reason for that is because while you want your site to be impressive and you want it to make it look like you had a lot going on, which we certainly do at IPM Nation, you don't want it to not be compatible and mobile friendly with your mobile device, because when you're in this business, you have to kind of accept and understand that I guarantee you the vast majority of you who are listening to this program right now, you're listening on a mobile device. You're not sitting at home. Well, then again, the show's live at 11 p.m., so you might be sitting at home at this hour. But if you're listening to the show on demand, you're probably listening on a mobile device, on a phone, on a tablet. So it has become incredibly important to make things as mobile friendly as possible, as responsive. That's the word they use in web design. You want your site to be responsive and easily adaptable automatically to different mobile devices. So That's become extremely important because, again, the kind of content that we're creating here is the kind of content that is most people are accessing on their mobile devices. I had this conversation just recently with Slicko, the host of Slicko's World, and he told me flat out, he said, I'm pretty sure everybody who's listening to my show, and by the way, he's on Sunday nights. There's a pre-show at 7:30, and then the main show starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on IPM Nation 2. But he said to me the other day, he said, I'm pretty sure everybody who's listening to my show is listening on their phone or tablet. And he's probably right. So we've made the new site. If you haven't tried it, try it out on your mobile device. I think you'll be pleased. And I think the new color scheme is really cool, and it's kind of red. I wanted to brighten it up, and red's my favorite color, so maybe I was a little bit selfish there with that part. But so far, everyone seems pretty happy with it. My Lenovo, my other little computer here that I bought, is suddenly acting a little funny. Oh, there we go. I was looking at the website, and all of a sudden the website disappeared, but it's back. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. And I guess that's obvious. You probably know. Even if you've never heard the show before, you probably know that. I bet after the break he's going to come back. I guess that's what break means. And we will talk some politics and something about Michelle Obama has come up that's really pretty shocking. We'll be right back. More Unleashed coming up. We're live on IPM Nation 2 and OTR FM. Don't go away.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
IPMNation.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Matt Connarton Unleashed. We are live tonight. 617-917-4IPM is the number to call if you'd like to join us. Or text us. Let's see. Something really pretty shocking has come to light, my friends. Yes. Of course, it's from my favorite website where I get all my news, rightwingwatch.org. Alex Jones, who is known for being a conspiracy theorist, he I know a lot of people kind of pick on him, and I pick on him sometimes, but he does occasionally break a real story that we should all be concerned about. Even Gavin McInnes, who I've become quite fond of. Gavin McInnes, who's a conservative sort of, he's a talk show host, but he's very, very funny, which is refreshing because there aren't a lot of really genuinely funny conservatives for whatever reason, but he's very, very funny. He's even given Alex Jones some credit for the bravery of his journalism, because Alex Jones will walk up to anybody and shove a microphone in their face. And Alex Jones, if you've never seen the video, he had the temerity to approach David Gergen once and ask him about Bohemian Grove. And it was the one time, if you see the video, it's on YouTube, it's the one time you'll actually see David Gergen get rattled. The unrattleable David Gergen, I don't think that's a word. Unflappable, we'll go with that. That's definitely a word. But Alex Jones has done it again. He has uncovered something that we simply cannot ignore here, my friends. Because according to rightwingwatch.org, Alex Jones says Michelle Obama is a man who murdered Joan Rivers to cover it up. Now, of course, all my Republican friends listening, you've all been certainly suspicious of Michelle Obama right from the beginning. Of course, back in 2008, when she and Barack were campaigning, there was that infamous fist bump that the Obamas did, which Fox News very quickly dubbed a terrorist fist bump. So that was concerning. But by the way, that's absolutely true. If you don't believe me, I'm not making that up. Fox News actually called it a terrorist fist bump. And of course, conservatives very upset with Michelle Obama for her initiatives to encourage children to eat healthy. Because there's nothing quite like telling children and encouraging them to eat healthy food instead of junk food that says a hybrid of communism and Sharia law is inevitably coming to America, courtesy of the Obamas. That's clearly the message there. So let's see. Let's listen to this audio because I have to admit, I've wondered myself only because Michelle Obama is very tall. She's unusually tall for a woman. So, she could be a dude. I don't know. Plus, there's all those gay rumors about Obama. Let's see. Let's take a listen to this. This is Alex Explains It All. Here we go.
Fury. Let's put this on screen, please. It's up on Infowars.com. Fury at racist cartoon comparing Butch and masculine Michelle Obama to pregnant, ready Melania Trump. Pageant ready. I'm having a Freudian slip. Now, let me go ahead and show you this. This is the two ladies, and we've had doctors on about this. Her shoulders are too wide. She's on like the 100th percentile of women, okay, with her body type. Her arms, everything. She always has this pooch, like she's wearing either a codpiece or has genitalia. Okay? Now, she looks like a...
But I have to interject here. I've never noticed that Michelle Obama wears a codpiece. But Alex Jones apparently has noticed. I would just say to Alex Jones, why are you looking at Michelle Obama's crotch? Anywho, back to Alex.
Man, like dude looks like a lady, lady looks like a dude. And this is a funny cartoonist, Ben Garrison, who they're always calling racist and bad. And I'm sorry, it's true. It's a giant viral video phenomenon for like 8 years that she's a man. All I know is Obama was raised by a trans.
Wait a second. This is the first time hearing of this. I don't know if Alex Jones quite knows what the word viral means in this context, because I have not seen any of these videos. I mean, of course, I've seen the video for Dude Looks Like a Lady by Aerosmith. I actually thought about queuing that up, but I thought it was too easy. The joke was too obvious. But then I play this and there's Alex Jones singing it. So he'll go for the obvious joke.
In Indonesia. They're into all sorts of stuff. Hillary's daughters, Webster Hubbles, none of the stuff we're told by these people is true. And national media takes it when I talk about this, and acts like I'm crazy. Listen, there's hundreds of millions of views on YouTube. There's some videos with like 10 million views apiece, and there's dozens and dozens of them. Probably more than 100 million. I'm just guesstimating. Dead reckoning. Where mainline liberal sites think she's a man. Okay?
What?
It's not racist to say she looks like a man. And let me explain something. Cartoonists famously make fun of everybody. You ran for office. You are the co-president that tells kids what lunch to eat around the country because you're God.
See, there it is. Because, every first lady needs a project, right? Like Nancy Reagan's project was just say no. Hillary Clinton's project, at least at the beginning of the Clinton administration, was, an ultimately not very successful attempt at healthcare reform. Michelle Obama's big project has been teaching kids to eat healthy. And for some reason, conservatives find it just enraging that she would do that, because obviously she thinks she's God telling people what to eat. No, far better that we should continue to stuff children with fat and sugar the second they shoot out of the womb, and then stand around wondering why we're raising yet another generation of diabetics. But I digress.
Obama is obsessing, saying he'll sue Texas, sue North Carolina if we don't teach 5-year-olds how to be trannies, trying to sexually confuse kids. And you're fair game. And don't forget, the famous comedian Joan Rivers said, of course everyone knows she's a tranny. She's dead serious. Yeah, she's a man. Deader than a doornail in a routine operation where basically she had fire poured down her throat, was a fire-breathing goblin. Dead on arrival. Shoot your mouth off, honey. You will die.
We've learned a lot lately in terms of these conspiracy theories. We've learned from Trump that Ted Cruz's dad helped kill Kennedy. And now we know that Michelle Obama murdered Joan Rivers. This is stunning. And I thought the Clintons killed a whole lot of people. Oh, my goodness.
Liberal. Like Bono gets billions and huge concert deals, says it's all going to charity to AIDS Africa, and keeps 99%. Greediness. And George Clooney opened the borders up. He has $100 million chateaus, doesn't bring in one immigrant or whatever, and says Trump wants to hurt women because he says radical Muslims are a danger, when it's the radical Muslims totally enslaving over 500 million women. George Clooney, you maggot. There's all those videos where Obama keeps calling,
very upset.
Well, Michael here, Michelle. Hey, Michael, Michelle, come on over here.
Most of all, Admiral Mullen, Deborah. Michael and I also want to acknowledge your son, Jack, who's deployed today.
I really think
wait a minute.
Her daughters don't look like her. I really think this is some weird hoax thing.
Okay, hang on. Isn't it entirely possible that there was someone at that event? I mean, you didn't see the visual, obviously, if you're listening to this, who happened to be named Michael, who, I don't know. There's a million explanations for that.
He did again. Just like he didn't get sworn in on the Bible. It was the Quran, all this weirdness. I mean, I used
That's
to laugh
not true.
At this stuff, but man, it's all about rubbing our noses in it. And I think it's all an arranged marriage. It's all completely fake. And it's this big sick joke because he's obsessed with transgender. This is like some weird cult or something. I think Michelle Obama is a man. I really do. I really do. I believe it.
There you go. Alex Jones, because he is a journalist, he has uncovered yet another story. Well, no, actually, though, apparently, and to his credit, he acknowledges he didn't uncover this. He's just commenting on it because apparently there's these millions and billions of views of these videos, which clearly demonstrate that Michelle Obama is a man. But personally, I don't know. Maybe maybe I just don't pay enough attention. I got to pull my head out of the sand because this is all news to me. I'm just learning about this today. I didn't know there were all these different videos with Barack calling her Michael. This is truly stunning, and I don't know what to make of it. So, because how much do we really know about Michelle Obama, if that is her real name? I mean, people always talk about, Obama's. There's a conspiracy theory about Obama, by the way. I don't know if you know this, that he was actually a CIA operative, and that they recruited him from the CIA to be the Manchurian candidate, as it were. That's a very common conspiracy theory. I mean, there's also the conspiracy theory that he really was born in Kenya, and that the Illuminati or whomever groomed him from his birth in Kenya to eventually be president, which actually makes even less sense than the CIA operative angle. And why all the conspiracy theories about Obama? Why so many more about Obama? Why don't they come up with conspiracy theories about other Democratic leaders? I don't know. I keep feeling like there's just something about Obama that makes him a little different, which is why they get kind of weird about him. Can't quite put my finger on it. Oh, the Obamas. I bet you anything, both of them, Barack and Michael or Michelle or whatever, cannot wait until January when they can finally get the hell out of there. We'll be right back. More Unleashed coming up.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Matt Connarton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connarton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connarton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR-FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
IPMNation.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Matt Connarton Unleashed. We're live on IPM Nation 2 and OTR FM. Good to have you with me. You know, in all fairness, I was talking about how the Obamas seem to be subject to more conspiracy theories than past Democratic presidents. But actually, Bill and Hillary Clinton have been the subject of quite a few conspiracy theories. You know, there's the theories that they've murdered tons and tons of people. There's the theory that Chelsea Clinton is actually Webb Hubbell's daughter, not Bill Clinton's daughter. there's an author of a book about, I don't remember the author's name, I don't remember the book's title, but there's an author of a book about that who actually gets mainstream media attention. He's been on, well, Fox, of course, because they love anything anti-Clintons. He's been on Howie Carr's show. Howie Carr, people in the Boston radio market are certainly familiar with him, conservative talk show host. And I know I talked about this on the show recently, but it bears repeating. One of the reasons that the conspiracy theorists who believe that particular conspiracy, they say that if you take a picture, if you look at a picture of Chelsea Clinton side by side with Webb Hubble, which is very easy to do, you can go to Google and just Google Webb Hubble Chelsea Clinton, and you'll see all these side by side comparisons that all these conspiracy theorists have put together, and they go, look, she looks just like Webb Hubble. And again, I looked one day after hearing the Howie Carr segment about it, and I remember looking and saying, wow, she does look a little bit like Webb Hubble. But you know who she looks even a lot more like? Bill and Hillary Clinton. She looks like if Bill and Hillary Clinton had a kid, it would look like Chelsea Clinton. So I don't know. I mean, the conspiracy theories are fun and everything, but I think most of them are BS. Although we do have a lot of interesting conspiracy theory programming on IPM Nation. So I'm not knocking it. I think the stuff is interesting and fun. I just don't buy into most of it. But I mean, conspiracies, there are conspiracies. Watergate was a conspiracy. Iran-Contra was a conspiracy. The Gulf of Tonkin incident, we just learned a few years ago, turned out that was staged as an excuse to escalate our involvement in Vietnam. Hell, Bill Clinton trying to cover up that he got a Hummer from an intern in the Oval Office was, that was a conspiracy. So there are conspiracies. I just don't believe that the Earth is really secretly ruled by alien lizard people. That's kind of the extreme, though. That's like David Icke conspiracy theory stuff, and he's like the craziest of them all, David Icke, way more than Alex Jones. Here's something quick, often a little bit of good news to share, because often on the show when I talk about things like, you've got the transphobia, the homophobia, all the Christians who are so hyper-focused on the gay thing and everything, and of course racism and all this. And I often lament that, isn't it embarrassing that here we are in the year 2016 and we're still not past all this stuff. But there's good news too. I mean, you can't honestly say, as frustrating as it is, and it's easy to be cynical, we've come a long way from the days when blacks and whites had to use separate water fountains. Okay. So there has been a lot of progress, just not enough. We really should just be past all of it by now. But it's nice to see something good happen. And, something good has happened. The U.S. Senate, and I'm actually kind of surprised by this, but the U.S. Senate has unanimously confirmed a new Army secretary, and he is openly gay. And there was a time when that would not have been possible, when there's no way you would put someone in a leadership position over any part of the nation's military who was openly gay. I talk about the Clintons. I vividly recall, because it was the first election I was old enough to actively participate in terms of voting, 1992, Bill Clinton was asked, when you become president, if you're elected, will you reverse the ban on gays in the military? Because up to then, there was a strict ban on gays in the military. And Bill Clinton very flatly and firmly said, yes, I will. And he was going to just sign an executive order ending the ban. And then he got in office, and it turned out there was way more pushback on it than he expected. And that's how we ended up with Don't Ask, Don't Tell. That ended up being the compromise, because he wanted to get in and just sign an executive order ending the ban. But then he got spooked by the opposition to it. I think was just way more than he ever imagined it would be. So we ended up with Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And now, and then all these years later, a few years ago, you've got the guys actually in charge of running the military testifying in front of Congress saying, yeah, it's time to just permanently just allow gays to openly serve. We're all adults here. It's time. And that was very encouraging to see. And now there is no Don't Ask, Don't Tell. There's no gay ban. You can be openly gay and serve in the military. So we have come a long way in that regard. But this guy got a unanimous. That's the part that surprises me. It's not that he was confirmed, but confirmed unanimously. So both Democrats and Republicans voted for his confirmation, knowing that he's openly gay. That is impressive to me. Let me read. This is very, very quick. This is from MSN. MSN.com. It says here, the U.S. Senate unanimously backed President Barack Obama's nomination of Eric Fanning as Secretary of the Army on Tuesday, making him the first openly gay leader of a U.S. military service branch. Fanning previously worked as Undersecretary of the Air Force and Chief of Staff to Defense Secretary Ash Carter. He was confirmed by unanimous voice vote. That's amazing. 8 months following his nomination, after Pentagon leaders assured Senator Pat Roberts that it was now too late for the administration to transfer prisoners from the detention center at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, to Roberts' home state of Kansas. Roberts had held up Fanning's nomination for months to underscore his opposition to any possible transfer of detainees. It's a little interesting side issue there. I have a quick comment about that after. His opposition had frustrated his fellow Republican, John McCain, the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee and strong supporter of Fanning's nomination. On Tuesday, McCain and Roberts appeared in the Senate together as Roberts announced that he had released his hold on Fanning and spoken to Fanning. McCain noted that this year's National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA, ensures that the Obama administration does not have the authority to release or transfer detainees to the U.S. mainland. Roberts said Deputy Defense Secretary Robert Work told him during a meeting last week that he would be unable to fill an order to move Guantanamo detainees to the United States before Obama leaves office in January 2017. Roberts said, quote, "The clock has run out for the president," unquote. So that's what the hang up was there. But no, this is great. This is great. I'm glad that we're at a point where this is not an issue. This guy was confirmed by unanimous voice vote. That's fantastic. Side note about the Guantanamo thing. Obama, of course, that was one of his campaign promises. He was going to close Guantanamo. He hasn't been able to do so. Every time it comes up, there's a lot of opposition. But I've never quite understood. I mean, I get the basic psychology of it. There's some people who are just so freaked out. Well, these are dangerous terrorists. You can't bring them here. You can't bring them to the mainland. And I've just never quite understood, what do these people think is going to happen? Do they think that these are like that these alleged, and by the way, they're alleged terrorists, okay? They don't get any kind of trial or anything. They just get put in Guantanamo as enemy combatants, and that's a whole other can of worms we don't have time to get into, okay? But I guess people who are freaked out about bringing them here and putting them into the U.S. prison system honestly believe that there's some special breed of people who are going to be really, really good at escaping from prison. They couldn't escape capture. They couldn't escape being captured by the U.S. military. But if we bring them here, and even if we put them in maximum security prisons, which I'm sure is where they would go, that they're somehow going to escape and then, I don't know, I guess commit terrorism on U.S. soil. How often do prison escapes actually happen in the United States? I think they're extremely rare. That's why, I mentioned on the show the other night, one of the arguments I've heard in favor of the death penalty is, well, what if a murderer escapes from prison and kills more people. If you execute him, he doesn't have the opportunity to do that. And it's like, when does that happen? Don't get me wrong, I'm not naive. I understand prison escapes happen, but I get the impression that they're awfully damn rare. And I don't think that these prisoners in Guantanamo Bay, if you bring them to the U.S. and put them in maximum security prisons on U.S. soil, that they're going to somehow, what are they going to, are terrorists really good at digging tunnels or something? Are they gonna tunnel their way out like El Chapo did? I mean, what do people think? I mean, the fear to me just seems really completely irrational. I would add, however, I personally have never been that excited about the idea of closing Guantanamo, because it would be really just a largely symbolic gesture. And I'm not big on symbolic gestures with no real substance behind them. You can close Guantanamo, but it doesn't change the fact that you have all these prisoners here who are held indefinitely as enemy combatants, who will probably, most of them will never see even a military tribunal, let alone an actual trial of any sort where they are proven to be terrorists. They're just going to be left to languish in this sort of enemy combatant status, probably for most of the rest of their lives, if not the rest of their lives. So to me, Gitmo's never been that big a deal, in that nothing's going to change if you close it. It's just to make everyone feel good. And I'm not big on just, stuff to make everyone feel good. And that's really what was behind Obama's promise to close Gitmo to begin with. But a little bit of a tangent there. But I'm glad this guy Fanning got confirmed, and so decisively. That's good news, and that is progress. We'll be right back. One more segment to go. Don't go away.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
IPMNation.com.
Welcome back, everybody, as we cruise into our final segment tonight on Matt Connarton Unleashed. By the way, it's Tuesday night, so don't forget, tomorrow, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, the television edition of Matt Connarton Unleashed. And if you don't get to see it live, there is an 11 p.m. Eastern replay of the show. Plus, we usually get them up on YouTube by around 9 p.m., So one way or another, you can see it. Plus, we replay the audio on right here on IPM Nation 2. This program is typically live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesdays, we cheat a little bit and just play the audio from the television edition. So if you've ever tried to call the show on a Wednesday night and no one answered, that's why. Wednesdays are recorded earlier in the day. Tomorrow, Janet Del Fuco will be returning to Unleashed with a bit of an update for us on that situation that she's been dealing with. Pretty interesting stuff. Let's see. And of course, I'll mention our sponsors too as we cruise into our final segment. Of course, we broadcast from the Uptown Auto Repair Studio here in Manchester, New Hampshire, powered by Ambit Energy. If you want to learn to save on your energy bills, go to ipmnation.ambitrabbit.com. You'll be glad that you did. I can attest to that via personal experience. ipmnation.ambitrabbit.com. You can be on your way to getting free energy, believe it or not. It is possible. And of course, we're also sponsored by the Mortgage Specialists. Like I always say, it's probably the biggest purchase you'll ever make in your life. You don't have to go it alone. Go to themortgagespecialists.com. Themortgagespecialists.com. And I mentioned earlier, of course, Kentucky, it being too close to call there. There's an interesting article here on Politico. Sanders sticks it to the Democratic Party. Doubts are growing about the party's ability to unite after a contentious primary. What's interesting to me about this is, it's been an ongoing dialogue in terms of, for the Republicans, in terms of Trump and how he's really split the party. And, there's murmurs of a potential third party run by some establishment Republican and whatnot. Of course, there is a legitimate third party, the Libertarian Party, Gary Johnson, who will probably be the nominee, although could be John McAfee. I've endorsed Darrell W. Perry, but just realistically, he just doesn't have the name recognition, the name ID. The other two do. But if Gary Johnson can, I saw one poll that had him at 11% nationally, which is really good for an independent candidate. But I love seeing all the trouble that the Republicans are having and that the Democrats are having. And my hope is that the Democrats, we talk about them a little bit less in this regard and the problems they're having with their outsider candidate, Bernie Sanders, because Bernie's not going to be the nominee and has no chance of being the nominee, whereas Trump is going to be the Republican nominee. Clearly, he is the presumptive nominee. So that puts the Republicans are in a more tenuous position here going into this election. But there is a lot of unrest on the left too, and what I would like to see is both parties self-destruct. And it's exciting. Some people think that we're watching the Republican Party self-destruct before our eyes with Trump. But I look at it as, yes, I want the Republican Party to self-destruct, but I also want the Democratic Party to self-destruct because I want the two-party system to implode on itself. I think the two-party system is bad for America. But here's the thing. In order for that to work, in order for the two-party system to truly implode, both of the two parties have to cave in at the same time. If the Republican Party just sort of really comes apart during this election, but the Democratic Party doesn't, if Bernie eventually, gives up and says, okay, I'm going to endorse Hillary, I implore my supporters to endorse Hillary and whatnot, and they manage to pull it off where there's all this unity and all this kumbaya while the Republicans are still fractured, then there is no self-destruction of either party, frankly, because what'll happen is, whenever one party has a really tough election where they get beaten very badly, we've seen this throughout history. Whenever that happens during any election, if one party takes a real drubbing, you'll have all these talking heads on election night, all these commentators going, wow, they really, this might actually be the end of the Republican Party, or wow, the Democrats, this was a awful election for them. Is this the beginning of the end of the Democratic Party? You'll always see all these prognosticators saying that kind of thing, predicting doom and gloom for whichever party really got trounced. I mean, this doesn't happen every election. Whoever, loses more seats or whatever gets that kind of treatment. But if it's an election where one party really kind of creams the other one, then the losing party gets this sort of narrative, this epitaph written by the commentators on cable news. And of course, it's all BS. The two-party system continues. Eventually, the party that lost that particular election so badly will rebound, and then maybe the next time the other guys take a bad loss. And unfortunately, that's what we're going to see. It's not like, here's the thing. We can't do it one at a time. We can't say, okay, well, the Republican Party looks like it's imploding, and the Democratic Party, they look like they're having a lot of trouble too, because Bernie is making things hard for Hillary and splitting that vote. So if the Republican Party implodes, maybe by the time we get to the next election cycle, the Democratic Party by then will have also imploded. And then that'll be the end of the two-party system. It doesn't work that way. They both have to implode at the same time during the same election cycle. Otherwise, the pattern just continues. It doesn't matter how badly. Look, the Republicans look like, because Trump is going to have a terrible down ballot effect. So the Republicans, and some Republicans have even openly acknowledged it. Lindsey Graham, I played the audio on here weeks ago on Morning Joe. Lindsey Graham flat out said, yeah, Republicans, we're probably going to lose big in 2016. He came right out and said that. We're going to lose badly because of Trump. But the cycle will, so they're going to have a particularly brutal election. But unless the Democratic Party is also in tatters at the exact same moment, it won't matter. So, the Republicans will rebound and the two-party system will continue unabated. It may be, they may win worse than they have in any election in history because of Trump. But we also don't know how that's going to play. I mean, can you imagine if they actually were to go through with mounting a third party candidacy? And by the way, I'd like to see them all, everybody who's upset with Trump, I'd like to see them just throw their support behind whoever the Libertarian nominee is, probably Gary Johnson. But and I think a couple people have actually publicly done that. But Mary Madeline, she's done that. She actually switched parties. She switched from the Republican Party to the Libertarian Party officially. But if they don't do that, if they actually mount, like if they say, okay, Paul Ryan, we want you to run too, you're going to be a third party candidate, that's going to split the Republican vote so badly that they're just going to get murdered in the general election. Their only real hope, honestly, their only hope for recapturing the White House in 2016 is they've got to go all in and throw all their support behind Trump. They just got to lean into it and do it and hope that Hillary maybe gets indicted or something terrible enough happens that can take her down. And then Trump wins, and then they've got the White House back. But that's their only shot. Anything else they do, they're going to split the vote. And they obviously they know that. And they're prepared to do it, they're trying to play the long game. If they do that, then they're certain to lose in 2016, but they're thinking hopefully they can rebound in 2020, and it'll be easier to rebound if there's a part of the party that sort of disowns Trump, and then they can say, see, you should have trusted the establishment. But Republicans, as I was talking about, I think it was last night on the show, I was saying this, Republicans aren't good at playing the long game. So I think they're going to screw this up. But I want to see the Democrats really blow it at the same time, so that both parties can self-destruct at the same time. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But there is this article up on Politico. Sanders sticks it to the Democratic Party. We're almost out of time. I'll just read a little bit of this quickly. In the wake of a chaotic state convention that resulted in death threats for party officials and vandalism to party headquarters, the Democratic establishment asked Bernie Sanders for his help Tuesday in getting some of his overzealous supporters to stand down. His response: stick it. As fallout from Saturday's Nevada Democratic Convention expanded across Democratic circles, the Vermont senator's defiance appeared to confirm some of the party's worst fears. The rifts caused by the presidential primary may be deeper than anyone knew. That's all I'm going to read. The rest of this is up on Politico if you want to read it, but very interesting parallel there. Very interesting parallel. The establishment wants him to tell his own supporters to tone it down. Does that sound familiar? That is the exact same thing that's happening with Trump and the Republicans. The Republican establishment would love nothing more than for Trump to tone it down and to tell his supporters, yeah, these little remarks I've made about go ahead and hit that guy and I'll pay your legal bills or whatever. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. That's not right. I don't want to encourage violence. But he won't do it. And Bernie Sanders isn't going to do it either. So there's very much a parallel there with Trump and Sanders in terms of that. They're in very similar situations, and that gives me hope. Maybe both parties will self-destruct at the same time. That would be glorious. That would be a great day for America. Let's get some independence in there. We're out of time. Don't forget the television edition tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern on IPM Nation, and it'll be up later on YouTube. Talk at y'all later. Good night.